Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm in the mountains. I'm actually in an area I've been to before, but I'm going to camp in a spot that I've actually never visited. So I'm really looking forward to it. As I mentioned in my post, this trip could either go one of two ways. There is supposed to be some snow tonight on top of the mountain, which is where I'm headed, but at lower elevations down here in the valley, it's just rain. So eventually, at some point, this rain will disappear and turn into snow. At least that's the hope. There is already snow on the peaks. I'm actually going to be heading to that peak, so I'm guaranteed some snow. It is supposed to snow more tonight, which is great. So I should wake up with about 3 inches of powder if the forecast is correct. Been really looking forward to a snow camp. Not ideal heading up the mountain, but eventually it'll pay off. Let's get hiking. This path is pretty straightforward with a low incline all the way up the mountain, which is where we're going over there, and then we're going to cut across over here. Normally, I try to avoid easier routes like this because easy typically means people, and people are something I try to avoid at all costs when I go on these camps. However, this was the most direct route to the area where I'm planning to camp, so that's why I came this way. So the only benefit to the rainy weather like this is that I think it's keeping a lot of people away, because this is a Friday afternoon and this is a pretty common path and I haven't seen a single person. Not ideal having the rain like this, because on winter camps the goal is to stay dry at all costs, and when it's snowing that's pretty easy to do, but when it's raining like this that's not. And I'm heading up there where there is snow and where it's going to be a lot colder, below freezing. So I'm going to get wet hiking up, and then I have to deal with being wet and those kind of conditions, which isn't ideal. I did prepare though. As you can see, I'm in full waterproofs and I have a second set of dry clothing in my pack. So once I get up there where it's a lot colder, I'll be able to get rid of this wet gear and get on dry stuff. Hi, sheep. One benefit to taking the more popular routes is you get conveniences like that instead of having to figure out a spot to cross. Oh. There's our first patch of snow. I'm in my 40s and I still get excited like a little kid when I see snow. I hope that never changes. It's getting windier as I'm heading up. Looks like the forecast is going to be spot on this camp. At the top, there's supposed to be up to 35-mile-per-hour gusts. However, the winds are supposed to die throughout the night, and by morning, I think it's only like supposed to be 19 miles per hour, 15 miles per hour, something like that. So it will get better as the night goes on, but I did bring an appropriate tent for the conditions, just in case. Getting quite a bit more rocky but also a lot slippier. Heading straight up, and then I'm gonna head off that way. I'm a little over 2 miles into the hike. It's not too bad, but I am losing light, so I do need to get a move on. I have about 1.5 miles to go, and then I'll be there. You can see there are some footprints in the ground, but they're actually all going downhill. It means I guess someone took maybe the other side of this, maybe took the other side, came up and around and back down. Because I haven't run into anyone. Whew, almost there. The snow definitely makes it a little tougher though. Ooh, gotta be really careful. Do you see the snow drift? You don't want to step on that, and then it collapses on you, and you fall down there. Staying way clear of it. Luckily, there's still some footprints I could follow. That would not have been a fun fall. Okay, we're up here. Now, I just gotta head off in that direction towards my destination. I don't usually give my locations, but just up here, that's a great end. This is a very, very well-trafficked area, so I'm not worried about my YouTube video creating more traffic, because this area is already pretty busy on a normal day. But luckily, I have it all to myself right now, and it's absolutely gorgeous up here. I've got a little bit of visibility, but I think, going to, once I get over there, I think I am going to have to rely on my maps to find the tarn, because the visibility isn't that great. Hopefully it's not frozen over, so I can easily grab water from it. I could use snow, but I hate melting snow. It's just a lot easier to grab water. So that's the plan. Whoa! Gotta be careful. I just went up to my knees. Oh, just over there. Yeah, there's these big holes. Still rain. Oh, jeez. It's still raining, unfortunately, but it's just a slight drizzle. Oh, actually, it's ice. Okay, never mind. It's not raining. It's more ice now, which is a good sign. So it's looking like I'm gonna get my fresh snow tonight. There's plenty of it already on the ground, which is great. I'm off trail now, making my way to my destination. Just gotta be careful where I'm going, because I'm not on the trail anymore, and I don't want to accidentally put my foot in a bog. Ooh, not gonna lie, this one's kind of taking it out of me a bit. Face is starting to go numb too. Oh, almost there though. I came from off in that direction. Almost there. Just gotta go up past that rock. It would have been a little bit longer of a distance to follow a trail over to this area, but I decided to try to kind of cut off a bit. But in these conditions, it was kind of a bad idea, I think, because it's a bit slippy and up. But yeah, it's a bit slippy. I just don't want to slide down. Normally, I don't carry an ice axe or anything like that with me because it's not necessary, because I'm usually hiking trails that are not that steep. But this is one of those situations where it'd be nice to have one, just to, if I fell, just to kind of arrest my slide a bit. It's so beautiful. I love how quiet it is. All right, I have less than an hour until sunset, so I gotta get a move on. Should be a tarn just right here. All right, there it is. It begins there, so I want to be careful. You can tell it's shallow because the grass is poking through. A bit deeper over there, and then there's a pool over there. Let's walk along the edge here. See, there's a suitable spot to pitch. All right, well, there's water. So that's good, so I don't have to melt snow. Ooh, jeez. A change of plans. It's a bit too boggy here. My foot went completely underwater. Luckily it's not wet yet, but that's not good. I'm not gonna risk it. I'm actually gonna backtrack, but I'm gonna get water first and head down to one of the ledges I saw down there. That way it'll just be a bit safer, and I won't have to deal with potentially any of these boggy spots. Wow, that water is cold. All right, got the water. Just heading back down now a little bit to a bit more of a suitable spot to pitch the tent. There was a ledge just down here that was pretty nice, since I already got the water. And if I need any more, I can just melt snow. I just kind of wanted to, I can't talk, my mouth is frozen. I just kind of wanted to avoid it. There's also less wind down here, which is kind of nice. All right, I think I found a spot. I've kind of stomped it down a bit, and I think I'll be able to fit the tent here. It's got a fantastic view, which I'll show you in a second, but I only have about a half an hour until the sun goes down. Check out this view before I get the tent up. Look at that. I have a view, a great end. I actually hiked up that and then went up there, but then I came back down to here, and I'm going to pitch the tent right here. Stomped it down, should be big enough, but when I open my door, I'll have that view. Let's get the tent up. Ooh, it's cold. All right, just got to get it guyed out and then I'm done. Last skyline, just in time. All right, there it is, all pitched. So tonight I'm in the Hilleberg Jannu. Absolute tank of a tent. You can see really streamlined profile, which is perfect for these mountain environments. Could squeeze it into some pretty tight spaces. And there's tons of room inside, so really nice setup. Looking forward to it tonight. Bit wonky, I'm pretty sure I have a rock somewhere underneath me, but it should be all good. Right now it's a combination of sleet and freezing rain, so it's not too pleasant, but tonight it's supposed to be snow, so fingers crossed. Let's get inside the tent, get warm. Oh my gosh, it is so good to get in the tent. Oh, I'm starting to lose dexterity too. I typically have a pretty high tolerance for cold fingers, but the wet snow packing it on the pegs is really kind of testing the limits of that. There we go. Oh, all right. That's a lot better. Doesn't feel like the most level spot once I'm in here, but it's a lot of lumpy snow, so I should be able to flatten it out. One of the things I like to take whenever I'm camping on snow is a closed cell foam pad, because I don't like to blow up my sleep system right away. But I do need something warm to sit on because the snow is way too cold. So I like to bring a thin foam pad. There we go. Oh, that way it gives me something to sit on inside the tent and keep warm. Oh, immediate warmth. I'm gonna go ahead, settle in a little bit, and then I'll get back to you in a second. Get some ventilation in here. It's a little less steamy. My top is completely dry. This jacket is so cool. I was very sweaty, but somehow it just kind of soaks it up and evaporates through it or something. So my top's dry. These are a little damp still, so I'm gonna go ahead and take these off, get a bit more comfortable. Yeah, so it's not snow yet. It's kind of a combination of freezing rain, and maybe some flurries. Sounds nice on the tent though. Still got my fingers crossed. Tonight's supposed to be the night. I mean, it's not much, it's 3 inches, but for me, that'd be awesome. So I'm excited. I already have plenty of snow on the ground, but it would be nice to get a fresh coat in the morning. Time to get some warm clothes on. Starting with that. Got a nice wool beanie. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So nice. It's always crazy to me, even though it's cold outside, how much warmer it is inside the tent. Just getting out of the wind alone is huge. Finally got the snow camp I was hoping for. Oh man. Definitely had to work for it though. Coming up the mountain, it rained the entire time. It wasn't until we got up quite a bit higher that it kind of stopped raining for a little bit, but then it started doing this. But at least it's not rain. A lot of this just kind of bounced off me, which is nice. Really good to be back out. It was nice to have that hot tent camp with Zoe a couple weeks ago, but I was really kind of itching for a proper winter camp. The woodland's nice with the wood stove and all, but you know, mountains, snow, that's what it's about in winter. Or at least those are the camps I like to have. Alright, it's already 5:50. I'm going to go ahead, get the Garmin, and send a message to my wife. And then I think it's time to get dinner ready. I like to just unclip the ends right there and over there. And what that does is it creates about a foot more space in the vestibule for cooking. Because this vestibule is just a bit shallow, I could easily boil water if I wanted to over there. But because I'm cooking a meal with a fry pan and oil and all that stuff, it's nice to have just that extra foot of space. That way it gives me a ton more height to actually cook without having to worry about grease or anything like that getting on the tent. And the vent is directly above the cooking area now, which is nice. Alright, tonight for dinner I'm going to be making Italian sausage with gnocchi and zucchini. It's a really tasty one. I've made this before in the past. I've yet to put this recipe on my website, and I've been really wanting to because I make this meal probably more than any of the other meals you've seen me make at camp. It's a really good meal when it's cold outside, and with snow on the ground I thought this was a perfect opportunity to make this meal again and finally put the recipe on my website. Alright, there it is. My gnocchi with Italian sausage and zucchini. Super tasty meal. Really easy to make. It's got tons of flavor. I really enjoyed this one. Like I said, I think I actually may make this more than any of my other dishes, at least at home, for the family, especially in the colder months, just because it's so tasty. And it just kind of like warms you from the inside, especially with like a spicy Italian sausage. Oh, it's so good. If you're interested in making this, you can find the recipe at goingsolooutdoors.com and you can try making it yourself. Make sure if you do it, you try to find Italian sausage. It can be a little hard to find in the UK, but butchers, farmers markets, I've seen it there. And then sometimes in some of the supermarkets you can actually buy Italian sausages and you just have to remove the mince from the casings and you can make it that way as well. Alright, I'm going to tuck into this, listen to the rain/ice on the tent, and I'll get back with you guys in just a little bit. Just finishing cleaning my pot. When I cook at camp, I really do enjoy just doing one pot meals because cleanup is much simpler to do, especially with a ceramic non-stick skillet like this. You just wipe it clean and then you're done. Alright, everything's all cleaned up. I got the inner tent moved back again. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start getting cozy in here. First step will be to get my gas lantern going. Creates a nice warm light and it produces actually quite a bit of heat. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I recently had to remantle the gas lantern. Mine, I actually dropped it on a camp, was it 2 camps ago I believe? And the mantle, the bit inside that produces the light, is very brittle. And so it actually broke, so I had to remantle it. So on Instagram I actually posted a video this past week of how you actually do that process. And so I did it in anticipation of this trip, because one of the things I love to have on camps, particularly in the winter, is either a candle lantern or a gas lantern. And a gas lantern's particularly nice because it actually generates quite a bit of heat. It's not like hot tent camping or anything, but it produces enough heat that's quite noticeable, so it makes it really cozy and comfortable. So I'm going to go ahead and get that set up and start relaxing. See, now that creates a much more cozy environment. Produces a nice warm light and a decent amount of heat. I think I'm going to move the lantern to the middle of the tent, directly underneath the vent. Oh yeah. That way it'll heat the tent a little bit better. On these winter trips, it's nice to have a heat source like this that's so lightweight that allows you to kind of warm your hands to the bone again. Almost like having a little fireplace. So cozy. Produces a really nice warm light too, like a fire. It's definitely ice and not rain. I think I prefer this sound. It's a little less harsh than raindrops. Super cozy. I'm going to sit here and relax now. I do have one beer I brought with me on this trip, so I'm going to crack that open. Cheers, guys. I've just been sitting here hanging out, and I heard this sound hit the vestibule, and so I opened the vestibule door, and it was snow falling from the vent cap on top of the tent. I guess it slid off and then hit the vestibule and made a thump sound. Any case, so it's definitely snow. I'll show you guys that in a second. So I decided to look at the data for the Govee. It's like a little digital thermometer thing. And since I've been in here, I haven't even finished my beer yet, and I've had this on, the temperature's gone up to 9.5 degrees Celsius. I'll move the camera over and show you in a second. 9.5 degrees Celsius, and the humidity is plummeted to 66.9%. So not only does the data show that this is significantly increasing the temperature in the tent, and I have it completely open to the outside. There's air flowing from the outside directly over the top. I can feel the cold air if I put my hand up there. So there's no mesh, nothing between the outside air and the top of the tent, but it's still increased the tent to now 9.7 degrees Celsius, and the humidity is plummeted. So super cool. I mean, it's obviously not recommended to do it in a tent. So you need to have a well-ventilated space. That's just common sense. But I've done some testing with carbon monoxide detectors in a closed space with tiny holes to let air in, basically underneath the bucket, and it registered 0 carbon monoxide. Just wanted to show you real quick the snow. See, it's accumulating on the tent, and what I was hearing was it actually falling off the roof vent and then landing on the sides. Pretty cool. Yes, the forecast is spot on this trip. So cool. Really happy about this. It'll be nice to see how this tent handles the snow. It's not supposed to be much. I think it's only like 3 inches, but you know, it's still fun. Oh, by the way, this is the Govee thing I was talking about. It's just a little digital thermometer that measures temperature and humidity. I've been using these things for years, but it's kind of nice to finally actually test it and actually put some data to the use of one of these things. So as you can see there, it's now at 11.5 degrees Celsius with 61.3% humidity. The temperature has constantly gone up as I've had it running, as you can see, and the relative humidity has gone down while I've had it running. And you can actually see that little bump there was when I opened the door to look around at the snow, which is kind of neat, and then it continued to go back down. It's still going down, 61% now. Super cool. Thought I'd add the disclaimer. I don't want a bunch of people going out and buying a gas lantern and thinking that, you know, you're going to winter camping comfort or anything like that. Now, you know, I've been using, like I said, this for years, and I've used other Primus gas lanterns as well. I used to have a glass one, which I'm not a big fan of because the glass can break, and this one happens to be lighter, so I prefer the mesh one now. I've tested these things. This isn't just like a one-off kind of thing. I've tested them, as I said, in a bucket with holes in it to get oxygen, and had a carbon monoxide detector. So I don't want anyone to just see this and go buy some random gas lantern and, you know, go use it and think it's safe in a tent. That is not the case. It is never recommended to use something like this in a tent. I happen to know this one well. I've tested it a lot, and the vent here is massive, so I have tons of airflow. That being said, I'm just showing you the data just because I think it's cool, and because I just wanted to show you that it does actually increase the temperature and reduce the humidity in the tent, even with a massive vent open above my head. So I have tons of ventilation, so that being said, do your own research. Don't just go out there and think something's safe. Use it in a safe manner. Just be careful, and most importantly, actually test things before you use them in an environment like this. Okay, enough of the disclaimer. I'm going to go back to just hanging out, and I'll talk to you in a little bit. All right, it's been a bit since I've talked to you guys. I just wanted to go ahead and show you this. I was getting ready to find a spot to set up the bed, and look at this massive pointy rock underneath. It's not a big deal because I'm in a two-man tent. I can just move my sleeping pad over, but I actually found a rock behind me as well, so this is just a ridiculous spot. I did it only so I could have the view out the door in the morning if by any chance it's clear. All right. I was crushing the snow as much as I could at this end just so that I could lay with my head towards the head end, because I like to leave the mesh open and I want to be breathing out towards that mesh, and the large vent on top is above me as well, just to kind of mitigate any moisture in the air. On this camp, I'm finally using my winter sleep setup. So I've got my Nemo Extreme Conditions pad and the full winter version of my ZenBivy sleep system. This is the -10 degree version. So a little bit bulkier, but this has the pillow and it has the hood, which is amazing in the winter because that's where I actually put all my electronics and stuff, and I can put an arm up in there as I'm sleeping as well, so it kind of keeps everything warm, which is nice. And what I do is I actually put my thin closed foam pad underneath my pad at night as well, just to give a little bit of extra warmth and comfort. And it helps it from sliding around, which is good when you're on a wonky surface like I am. I think I'll be able to lay at the diagonal now that I crushed the snow. I'll be able to lay head in that way. All is right in the world. Well, in this tent. Stuffed as much as I could underneath to try to improve it. It'll have to do. I love that this pillow clips in and doesn't move throughout the night. Have the pillow attached, not going anywhere, and I've got one side attached and the side of the tent that's free. I have that side so I can crawl into bed. Let's give it a test. Alright. It's not too bad, but my feet are a tiny bit higher than I'd like them to be. I'm going to try to stuff a few more things. I have my gloves and so on. So all my extra bits of gear are going underneath me tonight to level this out. I'm going to do that, and then I think it'll be time for bed. That's how I'll sleep tonight, just to mitigate any moisture with the mesh open. And then I'm going to close it down a little bit on top. So this vent goes right to the outside. Super cold breeze right here, but I'm just going to close the mesh so it blocks it a little bit, but allows a lot of moisture to escape. Almost forgot. Hot hands in your socks. It's life-changing. And when it's super cold out, put one on your inner thighs underneath your long johns.
Oh, I love being able to tuck my arm under this and the pillow. Oh, alright guys, nice and cozy. I can already feel the warmth of this. So toasty. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get to sleep. It sounds like it's switched over to rain, actually. I don't know. I'm just hoping I wake up and either the snow that was already there has remained. Ideally there'd be more, but I'm not going to be picky. I just want the snow to be there when I wake up. It'd be nice to have a nice calm morning with snow on the ground, my morning coffee with a view. Keep your fingers crossed for me. Hopefully the skies clear a bit so I have a view of the valley down below. Really relaxing camp so far. Had a nice meal. Got a really decent hike in. I did not expect there to be that much snow still, and for it to be that thick, which was surprising. But made it up here. Found a nice spot. Hopefully it pays off in the morning. I did bring the drone with me. It's wishful thinking that I'll be able to fly it, but I'm hopeful. Alright, hopefully you're enjoying the camp so far and the sounds of the rain and snow. I'll catch you guys in the morning. Good night. I don't want to get out of bed. It's so cozy. Good morning. Oh man, last night was rough. It was nice and warm and comfortable. It was just the noise. Well, I can pretty much guarantee I did not get the 3 inches of snow I was hoping for. Earlier in the night, as I showed you on camera, the snow was accumulating on the tent, but then it turned to rain, and it was hard rain as well. It wasn't a nice pitter-patter on the tent. It was loud, windy. It wasn't pleasant. It made it hard to sleep, actually. Oh, but eventually it did stop about 2 hours ago, and I just crashed. I slept really well once that happened. In any case, sun's gonna be up in about, I don't know, half an hour, I think. So I'm gonna go ahead and get up, make a coffee, and then we'll look outside the tent. I wouldn't be surprised if all the snow is gone. It rained so much. We'll see. The review for this sleep system is coming on my website eventually. I've just been lazy about it, but it's incredible. There's only one thing I would change, but I'll put that in the review. Other than that, it's amazing. Super, super comfortable. It's like being at home in bed. It's amazing. Oh, it's chilly. And I should have closed the black mesh fabric in the vent. I didn't expect it to be as windy and rainy. Here, let me show you. See, I got some droplets on the mesh there. If I would have known it was going to rain like that, luckily they didn't come in, so this has a water repellent on it, so it kind of blocked all of it, but I left the top, so this black vent you're supposed to use if it's, really raining or snowing. I left it open just to, keep it dry, and which it did. There's zero condensation in here. But that goes right to the outside. I should have closed that. Oh well, it did its job. But if I had known it was going to be so windy and rainy, I would have did the outside cover as well. It's coffee time. Oh, I wish it was this quiet last night when I was sleeping. It was so loud. See, quite a bit of snow melted. I wonder what it's gonna look like outside. It looks to be definitely above freezing, but helpful tip, if you have one of these filters, you can't let that freeze. So what I always do is put it upside down in my boot, and even in negative 10 degree temps, that's kept it from freezing on me, which is nice. Or if there's no water in it because I drank it, I'll just actually put this in my sleeping bag with me to keep it warm. Coffee bag this morning. Cheers, guys. That first sip, so good. Well, I'm gonna enjoy this and probably start packing up and then think about getting out of here. So much more fun to unpack than pack. See what it looks like outside. Well, no visibility, unfortunately. Oh well, I brought the drone too. I was hopeful that I'd get to fly it. There's no point when you can't see anything. All right, time to finish packing up and get out of here. This bag is mostly waterproof, but I put a dry bag in this front pocket because this material is not waterproof. The side material is, but this part is not, so it just gives it a bit of extra protection. Because this is where I will put all my clothing and stuff, the lighter items. Oh, there's still snow. It is a grim morning. Windy, wet, and cold. I lost dexterity almost immediately. Had to put my gloves on. There's still snow on the ground, but definitely a lot sparser than it was yesterday. And there's puddles everywhere. Still no views. Fantastic view of Great Gable and all those, Great End, Seathwaite, but you can't see it. It is peaceful though. Tinted really well. I didn't get out last night to tension any of the guy lines, and as you can see, they're all still pretty taut.
All right, well, time to get the tent down. At least it's not raining. So you can see this is the roof vent. So this was open the entire night. The cover basically protects it from any of the rain, but with wind-driven rain, it was pretty windy last night. You could still get a few drops coming in, but perfect placement. It does such a great job at reducing condensation because it's huge and it's directly above where the apex of the tent, which is nice. Not raining, unpack and repack it a little bit more efficiently. Ooh, let me get my gloves back on. So I don't like to wear gloves. It makes everything so much harder. All right, leave no trace as always. This is where I was pitched last night. Just a bit of melted snow. That was the vestibule, and this is kind of where I was laying. Really happy I finally got a snow camp. Not ideal. I was hoping for some fresh snow in the morning, but you know what? At least the rain didn't melt everything, so I'm happy about that. All right, time to get down the mountain. That's where I was before I came back down. So now I need to head down this way. I'm gonna try to find my footsteps because it's a bit tough with no visibility like this. I should run into them if I walk this way. Whoa. Should be over here somewhere. Oh, it's like a crust on top, and when you break through it, you go pretty deep. Oh, in some areas. All right, found my footprints. Nice. This will make navigating a lot easier. That way I don't have to keep looking at my watch. I can just follow my tracks back down. Looks like I stumbled upon someone else's footprints. Check it out. Look at this little guy. I didn't see that yesterday, and it crossed my path, so it must have walked by after me, which is kind of cool. So the trail's somewhere down there. I got sidetracked by those footprints, and I lost where my footprints are. Oh yeah. Well, in any case, I know the trail's that way. I looked at my watch, so I'll just head in that direction. Maybe it'll be quicker. It seems to be a more direct route, I guess. I do just need to be careful because there's a little ravine, and I don't want to be on the wrong side of that, so I can't cross. Well, I see the trail. It's just over there, but I am a little off the path, and I don't know if you can hear, but there's a ton of running water under there. So this is a stream, so you really have to watch where you step. I can walk this way, I could see it narrows. but that would have been bad. Put a foot in that. Yeah, this is relatively flat right in front of me, but I can tell it's part of the stream as well. This whole thing, yeah, be really careful. You can see it flows underneath the snow. I'm gonna go ahead and cross here because I can actually see it instead of somewhere over there where I can't. I had my hood up, so I couldn't hear that well. I just caught a little bit of it. Luckily, I saw it before I stepped in there. All right. Trail's just up there. You can see that faint line. That's it, so I just gotta get to that. And then it's smooth sailing back down the mountain. All right, made it back on trail. Should be a lot easier now. This is that ravine I was talking about, so I didn't want to be on that side of it. You have to cross it up there, or you're not able to cross it at all. As you can see, it's pretty far down. Don't know what it is. It's probably that I grew up in Florida, but the snow. Absolutely love it. We used to vacation over the summers to Colorado. My grandmother lived in El Paso, Texas, and so we'd pick her up and we'd head north and we'd visit all the sites out in the west there. And I used to love going to Pikes Peak because even in the summer sometimes I'd get to see snow, and that was rare for a Florida boy. But then when I moved up north at 18, when I went to school in Manhattan, I was so excited the first time it snowed that I actually took one of the lunch trays and went to the park and went sledding with it. And I actually got a ticket from the cops. Completely worth it though. Anyway, enough rambling. I'm gonna enjoy the snow before it disappears as I move down the mountain. I'll get back with you in a bit. There's definitely some holes. Wow, look at this. You would not want to fall here. That is a long way down to some sharp rocks. Just gotta stay clear of the edge. You don't want to slip. As I'm heading down, the snow is starting to get a bit more sparse, which is a little sad, but it'll make it a heck of a lot easier to hike down. See, I'm now heading down into the valley. Way off in the distance there, that bit of grass, that's the farm where I parked my car. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. Really great camp. Really happy I got at least one snow camp this winter. It wasn't as good as my snow camp last year, but still happy I was able to get one snow camp in. Really had a nice time. I have about 1 week and then it's the term break. So I'm gonna be heading to Germany with my family to go skiing, which I'm extremely excited about. So I'll get to see snow again. I just won't be camping in it. So that should be a lot of fun. So I'll probably try to head out for another camp, probably the end of this month or the beginning of next. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Please like, share, and get outside. Later.